Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the FIT40 Podcast. We are going to be talking about three things today that we're going back to the old format where I'm going to give you three things in a row. You're going to have all the information so you don't have to keep up with the daily pods, but you're getting all the same stuff, the same quantity, and you can just listen at your leisure throughout the week. So today we got, can I eat? Fill in the blank. That's a very common question that I get, that I know a lot of fellow coaches get. Why tracking calories burned probably is not the best thing to do for you and your goals. And then the story about one of my more successful clients lately, which is Katherine. We're going to talk about how this mom of two got into incredible shape, how she lost 10.5 pounds of pure body fat, gained almost 5 pounds of muscle, and did it without being perfect. But let's start with the first one up, which is, can I eat blank? So if you've ever wondered, can I eat this? Can I eat that? The first thing I would ask is, why not? Because it's a very important question to ask, because a lot of people are starting to get scared by some of the foods that they're eating because of things you see on social media, things you see in the news, and it's usually not coming from credible sources or people just going way outside of their scope and trying to make it seem like, oh, they caught something that nobody else did. All right, so when it comes to, can I eat this thing? Ask yourself, have I been eating it? And have I gotten sick? Am I okay? Yeah. Chances are it's okay to consume. And if that's the case and you're like, but is it holding me back from hitting my goals as far as losing body fat, doing this? The answer is no, because when it comes to losing weight and losing body fat, it's a measure of calories. And then when it comes to losing more body fat rather than muscle and all that, it comes down to exercising and hitting your protein goals to achieve the best body composition you're capable of achieving. Now, we've seen this in many different diets throughout the years. So pretty much every diet works. We can agree on that because every single diet you've seen somebody have success with. Now, why is that? Because it just reduces their calories. When you're eating nothing but the cabbage soup diet, like that's probably a maximum of like a couple hundred calories a day. Horrible idea, but it does reduce body weight. Okay, that would be like going on a desert island. Same exact thing. You're still going to lose weight. It doesn't matter if you have the worst genes in the world, you're still going to lose weight because you're not taking anything in. So your body has to pull from those energy stores just to keep you alive. So we don't want to go to that point where we're like barely holding on. But I mean, you've seen this in things like, when it comes to the Twinkie diet, for example, there was a guy out in Kansas State. You could Google it. It's kind of fascinating. This guy pretty much put it to the test. He's like, hey, I mean, I'm a university professor. I'm just curious what's going to happen. So he ate pretty much nothing but Twinkies, Hostess cakes, and all this like typical junk food. And he just controlled for the calories and said, hey, this is what a calorie deficit should be for me. And let's see what happens. He loses 27 pounds, eating nothing but garbage, straight garbage. Now, I'm not a big fan of labeling food as garbage, but this is just to bring home the point of this is not exactly high quality food and he's still losing weight. Now, he documented that he also felt like absolute crap, but this is where food quality comes into play, where it's like, okay, the amount is going to get the scale to move, and then the quality is going to have us feeling our best, getting the best results, and sticking with the plan long enough so it doesn't rebound and we gain all the weight back. All right. So when it comes to other diets, for example, there's the white rice diet, which is a really famous one that nobody seems to have heard about because it happened like almost 100 years ago. But if you Google white rice diet, talk about some of the craziest transformations you've ever seen. They basically came up with this idea to try and see how it affected people who were morbidly obese. And they said, hey, we're going to put you on white rice only for X amount of time, and then we're slowly going to reintroduce more food. And like any elimination style diet, like you see now with carnivore, with Whole30 and things like that, where it's an elimination style diet, it removes these irritants that are clearly causing people some issues. When they remove like pretty much everything along with that one or two things that's probably setting them off, then they have nothing that's making them feel like crap, that's causing adverse effects, and they're controlling for calories. And then all of a sudden, the weight just falls off. Some of these side-by-sides for the white rice diet are mind-blowing. Okay, they would give the biggest loser a run for their money. And it's just, again, further proof that it's like, hey, it's the quantity that's going to drive what most of us want, which is the lower body fat, lower weight overall. And the quality is going to make it easier, and it's going to get us better results. So if you ever catch yourself saying, hey, can I eat whatever? Then if you're not allergic to it, yes. If it's not going to adversely affect any of the medications that you're currently taking, like I know grapefruit can mess with certain medications, then if it's not doing that, yes, you can eat it. And if you genuinely hate it, you absolutely loathe it, like you're just not a fan of Brussels sprouts or certain types of fruit or whatever it is, if you hate it for some reason, you don't have to eat it, because it also is true on the flip side of the coin. There's nothing that you absolutely have to avoid if those things are accounted for, and there's nothing that you absolutely have to have in your diet because somebody's decided that it's the superfood of the week. All right. All that matters is that you're able to control for your calories to satisfy whatever your needs are to hit your goal, and it's realistic, and you actually enjoy eating this way, because your enjoyment of the diet is going to lead to adhering to it better. You're going to stick to this diet much better than one that you absolutely hate or that leaves you feeling like crap. So when you can find that perfect mix of, oh, I actually enjoy eating this way, and then you're able to eat the right amounts, it's like automatic at that point, because you're able to stick to the plan and be able to see the results that you want because you've been on the plan for long enough. It's not this quick hit approach where it's like, we're just going to cut everything out and lose all this weight super duper fast. It's like, no, this is what an actual lifestyle change looks like. Okay. It's not going to happen as fast, but it's going to happen almost like clockwork. You just need to have the right things in place, and you got to make sure that you have the plan to get to there. But yeah, that's pretty much everything on can I eat this? So if you're going to ask me, can I eat this? Chances are it's like, I'll say if it fits in your calorie budget, if it fits in whatever your guidelines are for your diet based on your needs, then the answer is yes. All right. Now, on to calories burned. Now, this is the metric that I think throws a lot of people off, because it's like, okay, as long as I'm burning up a ton of calories, I should lose weight, right? Well, not necessarily. When it comes to losing weight, burning body fat, it comes down to whatever your net result is based on how many calories you burn and how many calories you consume. Now, if you consume less than you burn, you have to pull from your fat stores to replace that calorie deficit, because your body still needs to function. It needs to do certain things, and that requires energy, calories. Now, if you consume too many calories compared to how many you're burning throughout the day, then your body's like, okay, I'm going to save this for a rainy day, and it puts it into fat stores. All right. So it's really not that complicated, even though people love to make it more complicated than it is. The problem is that certain things influence what that calorie number is, like hormones, like stress, sleep, things like this, and it will mess with whatever that calorie number is. But at the end of the day, it's all about the calories. You just got to figure out what yours are based on your lifestyle and certain conditions and medications. Like there are certain medications that will affect your metabolism, so you got to take all of that into account, but it's still calories. I'm getting a little off track here, but the reason I say why you shouldn't track calories burned is because right now, currently, we just don't have a way to do that accurately, because they've studied the trackers that are out there right now, like the wristwatches, the straps that go around your chest, the cardio machines that spit out some random number, even though it doesn't have your height, weight, or anything like that. And they found that on average, the trackers, the ones that are actually attached to your body, some of them are off by like 93%. There was a Stanford study done. So if you want to Google Stanford study on fitness trackers, you can find it. And they found that these were some of the major brands like Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, like all the big names. And a lot of them were so far off. But why is this? Okay, because to get the amount of calories that you're actually burning, it's a pretty in-depth thing. Like you have to be in a chamber that measures the temperature change, how much oxygen you're taking in, how much carbon dioxide you're putting out, what the humidity level of the room is, and you have to be in this confined space just to know all of that. And nobody's actually going to do that every single time they exercise. And we're not even taking into account the things that happen the rest of the day, which actually burn the most calories. Because when it comes to the amount of calories that you burn, like basically everything that I go over in the metabolic assessment, if you guys are interested in that, link in the description. But basically, like there's 4 sections of your metabolism that are responsible for burning calories: exercise activity, non-exercise activity, thermic effect of food, and basal metabolic rate. That basal metabolic rate, which is basically the amount of calories you need just to stay alive and do basic stuff, is the biggest chunk of that pie. And then the next biggest is that non-exercise activity. That's like tapping your feet at your desk, your step count, talking with your hands and things like that. And then there's the thermic effect of food, which is the next biggest slice, which is if you eat higher quality foods, it's usually harder for your body to digest them, which is a good thing because it takes up a lot of energy and it takes up a lot of calories to break that food down. And that food usually moves slower, so you're fuller for longer. Another reason to eat more whole foods, but that takes up a lot of energy. And then that smallest sliver of the pie is exercise. Now, some people can exercise to the point where they really make that slice a lot bigger, but these are like athletes that are able to recover from these hardcore workouts because they sleep like a baby. They probably don't have kids. They live a relatively stress-free lifestyle. If they're like truly elite, all their teams and their coaches and everything make it so that they only focus on their training and their games. Now, if you have that, awesome. You can handle a much bigger workload. Like you could do Michael Phelps 3-4 hours in the swimming pool and be totally good and basically be able to eat whatever you want and not have to worry about your weight. But for the average person, it's just not that simple. So when it comes to calories burned, it's pretty pointless. And it usually results in doing things that harm our results rather than improving results. So for example, let's say you just got into the gym or you just joined, say, Orange Theory or something, and you're trying to get all these splat points, or you're going to a gym that has a MyZone thing that tracks how many calories you're burning. And first day, you burn a ton because what it does is it takes your heart rate relative to your height and your gender sometimes, and it'll generate this number for you. And the reason that it's so high day one is because you're out of shape. So your heart rate is jacked up through the roof. And what happens when you get good at exercise, when you keep showing up, when you improve, your cardiac health improves, you get stronger. It takes less effort on your body to exercise. So you become more efficient. So what do you do to drive that calorie number up? You work out harder, you work out longer, and to the point where a lot of people just can't recover from that, like we just talked about. So now you're working out a ton, but you can't recover in a way where you're building more muscle and where you're actually burning a good amount of calories, because now your workouts, instead of making you feel great, now they're draining you the rest of the day, where you don't do those involuntary movements like tapping your foot or moving your hands or opting to take the stairs because you're a little more tired. So you're less likely to do these basic things that burn up a lot of calories. So now you're burning less calories overall, even though you're burning more calories in the moment of exercise. That's why it's always about the right amount, not the most. All right. There needs to be some balance in all of this. And when you do that, unfortunately, it can leach into things like your sleep, for example. It is possible to work out so hard and so frequently to the point where you can't sleep well. And when you're not sleeping well, one, your hormones are a mess. So if you do care about your hormones, sleep is like the big one. And if you can't do that, you're in a position where you're going to feel crappier, you're less insulin sensitive, you're going to end up making poor food choices the next day because your decision-making center of your brain is totally fried. And more times than not, when people are tired, they, again, don't move as much, they burn less calories, and they're more likely to consume more. So it puts them in a bad position. And when they do gain weight, it's all in the wrong spots because of your hormonal profile being affected. So this all plays a role. That's why when it comes to fitness, nutrition, it needs to be a balance. It needs to be this cohesive thing, not I'm just going to work my ass off and really drive myself into the ground so I can get these results and then I'll figure it out after. Okay, not a good plan. So if you don't want to do that, the best thing you could do when it comes to metrics around exercise, number one, is having some sort of a baseline where it's like, okay, I lift this much weight, I can run a mile in this much time or whatever, and have these baselines and try and improve them as you go. So it becomes a performance goal, not a how many calories can I burn goal. And when you can do that and your performance improves, then you can confidently say, hey, I'm probably building muscle, I'm improving my cardiac health, and all these really, really good things are happening. And then when it comes to the weight loss side of things, that's where the nutrition comes in, and that's where the calorie counting or calorie control in whatever form you choose, that's where that comes in. So when it comes to the training side of things, focus mostly on all the good stuff that's not weight related, because anybody can tell you who's tried to exercise their way to the body that they want without focusing on nutrition can tell you it just doesn't work. So come up with those core metrics and see if you can add weight and add repetitions as you go to strength training. And when it comes to cardio, try and run a little bit longer or do it in less time or feel better doing the exact same amount of stuff. That's always a good tell that your body is adapting in a really, really good way. But yeah, that's pretty much that as far as calories burned is concerned. And then when it comes to our final topic, I want to give props because I got to get back to doing this a little bit more frequently. And that is giving props to one of my clients who just recently finished her 12-week kickstart, and that is Katherine. She is a mom of two, and she had a lot on her plate when we started. Like, she was having trouble getting her workouts in, eating well, because there's just a million life stressors going on, like with the kids, with work, with her husband also. There's just so many things going on, which I know a lot of people are stuck in right now, where it's like, I don't know where I'm going to fit these workouts in. I don't know how I'm going to eat these foods that are better for me. And we found a way. Okay. Because at the end of the day, when she got done with with the initial kickstart, she lost a total of 6 pounds, but 10.5 pounds of body fat. Now, a lot of people are wondering, like, wait, that doesn't math, right? She lost 6 pounds, but she lost 10.5 of body fat. Yep, because she also gained 4.5 pounds of muscle. Now, this is something that happens a lot on people's journeys where they don't lose as fast because they're exercising properly, because they're not starving themselves, and they get discouraged because there's these people at work or whatever that are losing so fast, but those same people at work gain it right back over and over again. But if you do this correctly and sustainably, then it happens slower, but you never have to do it again. So by the time we were done with the kickstart, she's like, I feel really good. I feel like I could do this forever. And I'm like, that's the goal. That's what we want. That's what the whole thing is catered towards as far as the FIT40 program. I'm like, I want you to get to that point where it's like, hey, I could do this forever and feel like I'm not really on a diet or like I'm really forcing myself to do this stuff. It's like, I actually enjoy doing it and I find the benefit in it. And it's great because there were weeks where we didn't get as many workouts as we planned for, but she kept showing up. There were weeks where we didn't hit all of our nutritional habits perfectly, but she kept showing up. And there were weeks where our calories were not exactly where they needed to be, but she kept showing up. And that's the key, because if you can keep at it and just keep trying to fine tune the process and not expect yourself to be perfect, you can see awesome results. And you can get to that point where it's like, okay, I don't feel like this is a diet. I feel like this is just my new way of living because I enjoy this. Like, it feels good to feel good. So let's take a note from Katherine's book and just keep showing up, because she is the epitome of it. And I'm so freaking proud of her as her coach. And I wish her nothing but the best going forward. And I know she's going to keep crushing it, and she's not going to fall prey to all the holiday stuff going on because she knows how to balance it all now. So props to Katherine. Just want to give her a quick clap. And if anybody is listening right now and they're like, I want that, then there's a couple of things you could do. One, definitely join the FIT40 family, because that's the most supportive Facebook group in the entire world by far, hands down, even though I am a little biased. All right. So if you want to have daily lessons like the ones that I talk about on here and just have that reinforcement day to day to know you're doing the right things, that's where to go. So definitely join the FIT40 family. Or if you want that more individualized attention, then that's what the metabolic assessment is for. So if you want to understand your metabolism, like I mentioned before, where it's like, okay, are we maxing out all of these factors so I can burn the most calories possible and get the results that I want? And do it totally for free without some cheesy sales pitch, that's what the metabolic assessment is for. And if you do want to take the full plunge because you need the accountability, you need the systems that were built to teach you the things that you need to learn, and on top of that, there's somebody to troubleshoot for you in your specific situation, that's what coaching is for. This knowledge and everything I give out to you guys, I want it to be free. If you can take all this stuff and apply it and be like, okay, I'm good, I want that for you guys. But at the end of the day, some people do need that extra step to get the momentum that they need to keep themselves accountable and to have a professional to just be like, hey, do this, not that. And if you are in a place where you need that, that's what FIT40 coaching is for. So you could click that link as well, give it a look and see if it's right for you. And if it is, then we'll hop on a call. We'll see what your situation is and how I can help, and we'll take it from there. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in all the way. Really appreciate you making it all the way through. I will see you all same place, same time next week. But until then, go kick some ass. See you later.